Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, president of Trident Concepts, and today I'm here with Brownells Daily Defense to talk to you about cleaning and maintenance. So, we have our firearm disassembled. I'm going to go ahead and put my safety glasses on as we start to talk about how to determine when you should be cleaning. So, there's a lot of different theories and a lot of different thoughts on the frequency and the interval of your cleaning. But I will tell you this, that one of the best things that you can do is to keep a round count log. If you know how many rounds have been fired, it gives you more information about when that interval should be. I typically will say right around, for a new gun, about 500 rounds. It's probably a good idea to go ahead and disassemble it, clean it, oil it, put it back together. I say that 500 rounds is a good number simply because we're still kind of breaking the gun in. Now after that, my interval is usually around 1,000 rounds. So the reason behind that is that if you're purchasing a quality firearm, then you should feel pretty comfortable that this gun can shoot dirty for a pretty good extended period of time. And then in between, I do a lot of oiling, so I'll talk about that at the end of the video. So the round count log doesn't have to be anything fancy. You know, if you just record that on this date you went and shot 2 boxes of ammo, that's about it. And as long as you can keep track of that over time, that's going to help you to give you a better indication of when you should clean the firearm. So when we talk about cleaning, we need to also talk a little bit about what equipment should you use. Now there are some ready-made kits that you can just buy and they have pretty much everything in them, but if you're going to put it together yourself, there's not a lot that you need. You need a cleaner, you need a lubricant, you'll need some sort of patches and some sort of cotton tip applicators, a cleaning brush, maybe some sort of dental pick that you can use to get into some of these areas, and you'll be surprised at how much you come to rely on some sort of screwdriver to kind of get inside those nicks and crannies. What I recommend is that start with one piece. Like I might start with the slide. What I'll do is I'll squirt it down with some cleaner, go ahead and scrub it around. I'll take a rag, wipe it down, and then I'll look at it and kind of see, because after I've cleaned it off of all the carbon and oil and buildup, I can better examine those high wear areas and see if I see any excessive wear. Once I've cleaned the slide, I'll go ahead and put it down. I'll take the barrel, and at this point what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using a bore brush here. And what this bore brush does is help to kind of clean the fouling off of the rifling that's inside of the barrel. Once I've cleaned it from the inside, I'll go ahead and spray it down on the outside, clean the outside, kind of do the same thing there. As far as the recoil spring is concerned, really not much to do here. I might spray it down, wipe it down, and then that's about it. When it comes time to doing the frame, same thing, spray it down, using the brush, go ahead and clean everything off. Then I'll use a rag to go ahead and wipe it down. That's where the screwdriver comes in handy, because I can use the screwdriver to force that rag to get in these places to kind of help clear out all that buildup. Now, once I've done all of this and I have cleaned the firearm, the next thing I need to do is work at oiling the firearm. So I recommend that you oil the gun frequently. You may not have to clean the gun frequently, but oiling the gun frequently is a pretty good idea. So I'll go ahead and go through oiling the gun with it disassembled. So I'll take my slide in this position here. I'll go ahead and take the oil, put a couple drops of oil at the top of the barrel hood, put a couple drops back here on the slide itself. Then what I'll do is I'll take my barrel, I'll put a couple drops on the barrel, and then using my finger just kind of rub that around. Once I've done that, I'll go ahead and insert the barrel. I'll use the same oil from my fingertip to just kind of rub around this recoil spring. Once I've done that, I'll go ahead and reinstall it there. From here, I'm going to go ahead and take some oil. I'm going to put it down on the slide rails on both sides here. After that, I'll take the frame. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a couple drops on the rails on both sides. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and reassemble. Once I've reassembled, I'd go ahead and function test. And then once I've function test, I'm ready to go ahead and put it back in service or put it away in my safe, whatever the case might be. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you're keeping track of your rounds and you realize that you're maybe only about 200, 300 rounds and you want to wait till you get to the 500 to clean, I do recommend that you still oil. So here's a method to oiling the gun that doesn't require you to disassemble the gun. What's important is that you recognize where you want that oil to go, which is again in that high wear area. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that I point the gun in a safe direction, unload, and clear. Once I've done that, the first thing I want to do is with the action locked open, I'm going to take the oil and just put a couple drops right there on the barrel itself. From there, I'm going to turn the gun upside down so I can gain access to those rails, and I'll put a couple drops on those rails. From there, I'm going to go ahead and release the action. What I want to try to do is I want to pull back and just kind of lightly hold the action open as I put a couple drops of oil on the top of the barrel hood. Now from there, all I'm going to do, cycle the gun. Since I put basically 2 applications of oil, I'm going to wipe it down and then wipe down any excess of oil. Now, quality oil applied in this method is good for a couple hundred rounds at a minimum. And the nice thing about it is that as long as you've safely unloaded the firearm, you can go ahead and reapply the oil at your own discretion. And that will help you to easily get up to that 500 and after that 1,000 round count kind of scenario. Of course, you can feel free to clean the firearm anytime you feel it's important or anytime you feel like you should, but realize that keeping that round count and using those intervals is probably a good way to maintain consistency in your cleaning. All right, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them down below. Until then, take care and stay safe.